What is fluorine and why is it the most dangerous element in the world? Hey, detailed engineering. Have you ever wondered what the most dangerous chemical element in the world is? Is there an element so reactive that it can barely be contained, able to react with nearly everything it contacts, including you? And more than that, could this same element in another form be present in your toothpaste or in the pan you use to cook? Today, let's unravel the mystery behind fluorine, an element as fascinating as it is terrifying, which has a reputation for being the most dangerous in the periodic table. But is it really? If so, how does engineering control this to deliver such benefits? But what exactly is fluorine? Fluorine is a chemical element represented by the symbol F and with the atomic number 9. It belongs to the halogen family, which are known for being very reactive in their elemental form. In other words, when it is alone, it is not a solid or a liquid, but rather a gas. It has a pale yellow-green color and a pungent, irritating smell. And this gaseous form is F2, just to give you an idea of its nature. It is a gas denser than air, and its melting and boiling points are extremely low, which means it remains gaseous even at very cold temperatures. But what really makes it so special, or rather so reactive? The key to understanding fluorine's personality lies in its atomic structure and more specifically in a property called electronegativity. Think of it this way. All atoms have a kind of hunger for electrons to complete their outer shells and become stable. And fluorine, out of all the elements, is the hungriest. It has the greatest power to attract electrons, which makes it extremely oxidizing. In other words, it steals electrons from almost any other element it encounters, and it does this with impressive strength. This thirst for electrons makes it the most reactive element in the periodic table. It doesn't mess around. It reacts explosively with most metals, with many nonmetals, and even with some noble gases, which are known for their inertness. Put it in contact with water, for example, and you'll get a violent reaction, releasing heat and forming some pretty aggressive products. This extreme reactivity, which puts it in the dangerous category, but also, paradoxically, makes it incredibly useful in various applications. So why is this element considered so dangerous? The danger of fluorine in its elemental form, the F2 gas, goes far beyond its reactivity. It is a corrosive and highly toxic gas. If inhaled, it causes severe damage to the respiratory tract, leading to pulmonary edema and even death. In contact with the skin, it causes severe chemical burns, and its resulting compounds can be just as devastating. One of the most notorious byproducts of its reactions is hydrofluoric acid. Unlike other strong acids such as sulfuric or hydrochloric acid, which cause immediate pain, hydrofluoric acid is treacherous. It penetrates the skin without causing much pain at first, attacking the tissues, and, even more concerning, it attacks the bones by sequestering calcium from the body. This slow and deep action can lead to severe and systemic organ damage, making hydrofluoric acid exposures extremely dangerous and difficult to treat. Its ability to corrode glass, for example, highlights just how aggressive it is. Imagine an element that can't be stored in a regular glass container. Just how dangerous must it be? Why is fluorine so important for engineering and industry? Here lies the big problem. It's the paradox of fluorine. Its extreme reactivity, when controlled and directed, can give rise to compounds with surprisingly stable and useful properties. The secret lies in how it bonds with other atoms by forming very strong chemical bonds. Fluorine settles down and creates materials with characteristics that would be impossible to obtain otherwise. The most famous example is probably polytetrafluoroethylene, better known as polytetrafluoroethylene or Teflon. This polymer made up of carbon and fluorine is a material that defies logic. It is non-stick, resistant to high temperatures, and practically inert to almost all chemicals. The magic happens because the bonds between carbon and fluorine are incredibly strong, protecting the main carbon chain and making the material extremely stable and non-reactive. This makes it indispensable in non-stick pans, industrial coatings, medical implants, and even spacesuits. Besides Teflon, fluorine plays a crucial role in semiconductor manufacturing. The microchip industry, for example, uses fluorinated compounds in etching processes that carve microscopic circuits into silicon wafers. Without the precision and controlled reactivity of fluorine compounds, the miniaturization of our computers and smartphones wouldn't be possible. In the energy sector, fluorine is vital for uranium enrichment. For uranium to be used as fuel in nuclear reactors, it needs to be enriched. In other words, the proportion of uranium-235 isotope needs to be increased. This is done by converting uranium into uranium hexafluoride or uranium fluoride, 6, which is a gas. Due to mass differences between the isotopes, uranium fluoride 6 can be separated in centrifuges, allowing the concentration of uranium-235. So, fluorine is a key element in the energy production chain, a topic we've already explored here in another video. But hold on, is the fluoride in toothpaste the same fluoride we're talking about? That's an excellent question, and it causes a lot of confusion. The fluorine that causes so much damage in its elemental gaseous form is not the same as what we find in toothpaste or fluoridated water. In your toothpaste, you find the fluoride ion, which is a fluorine atom with an extra electron, making it stable and giving it completely different properties. At very low concentrations, like those used in drinking water and toothpaste, fluoride helps strengthen tooth enamel, making it more resistant to cavities. It's a classic example of how the dose makes the poison and how the chemical form of an element radically changes its properties and effects from a lethal gas to an ally for oral health. So, fluorine is the most dangerous element in the world in its elemental gaseous form. It is certainly among the most reactive and aggressive. It requires extreme respect and handling under the strictest safety conditions in the industry. But it is precisely this reactivity that, when properly controlled by chemical and materials engineering, allows us to create compounds that have revolutionized several fields, from cooking to aerospace, and that are essential for our modern life and cutting-edge technology. If you've made it this far and enjoyed the video, take the opportunity to subscribe if you haven't already, leave your like, and activate the notification bell. And if you find our content interesting, consider becoming a member to help us keep producing content here on the platform and be remembered in our videos. And have you ever stopped to think about the duality of an element like fluorine? Do you know any other elements that also have this double personality? Leave it in the comments because I want to know. On the side, there are 2 interesting videos you should watch to expand your knowledge and curiosity. To support us, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and consider joining as a member. Thanks, engineering fans. See you in the next video.